welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm just so excited to be welcoming you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanya Dantus, and I'm a psychotherapist. I'm an associate marriage and family therapist in California, here a heilpraktiker in psychotherapy, and I've been doing the healing arts for over 20 years. But like dancing, like singing and music since I was 3 or 4. And I myself wrote and performed a piece back in 2015 and performed it on a stage in Los Angeles. And what I learned from doing that was how transformative it is to tell your own story. It really, there's nothing like it. And also I learned there's a lot of work to do that. There's so many rich, juicy stories to share. How to pick one, and I could only do one in those 10 minutes, right? And so I had to make my life centered around and conducive toward writing stories and sharing them with audiences, and I get to do that with other awesome women who are doing that too and empowering them to do it. So it's awesome. So I'm thrilled to be doing this important work in Freiburg here now for the second time. I've been living here in Freiburg for 5 years and have a little boy who's 8. And yeah, I'm just so happy you're here. I know there's a ton of things to do Saturday afternoon in Freiburg, and you could be anywhere, and you chose to be here, and that means a lot to me and the women who are about to get up on stage. So thank you. I'm gonna just let you know what's gonna go down right now. So yay, seeing familiar faces I haven't seen yet. Yay, so happy to see you. So basically, I'm gonna share with you a little bit about the journey that the women took to get to this place. And then you're gonna see 4 performances, about 10 minutes each. And then we'll do a little closing and then refreshments, dancing, fun. So we hope you'll join us. And I'm so excited you're here. And I know you're excited too, because maybe you came to support a woman that you know, or you are a relative or a partner of someone that's here, and I know that it means a lot to them. But I'm going to say that this is also going to be a little bit about you and your life too. So it's going to give you a taste of what's possible for you and your life, and it's going to be an emotional, compelling, and cathartic afternoon. So as you hear the stories of Natalia, Perna, Lindsay, and me, they're written and based on their own life and inspired by their own life experiences. You're going to get a strong sense of the work we did, but you may not fully appreciate the journey they went on. So some of the elements that we do here in Right HerStory is we have play, writing, theater, improv, dance, movement, and psychoeducation. And the women in the Right HerStory have been on a journey where they've written and rewritten their stories. They've faced doubts, fears, shame. We've danced and shaken our booties. And they've breathed and shaken it off, come together and built a beautiful sisterhood. They have tuned into their desires and their pleasure. They've become aware of and overcome their resistances and patterns of self-sabotage to dedicate themselves to a higher creative pursuit. And they've taken actions that scared them. And the women in Right HerStory have really been working on how to take up space and give voice to their truth and move from like playing small to speaking more of their truth and coming face to face with deep-seated fears. And let me tell you that is challenging work. It is not for the faint-hearted. To bring all of yourself to this, to find and activate your truest expression, is a step-by-step journey of unpacking behaviors that keep you in fear and prevent you from coming closer to your true self. In today's society, it is often hard for women and people in general to fully express themselves. At work, at home, with family, with friends. I'm gonna give you a little tiny taste of this for yourselves right now. So think about at work or at home, maybe with a partner or with the kids or with a colleague or boss. Where are the places where you hold back, where you don't fully share yourself or your opinion, where you think maybe it's just not worth it? let me give you some examples. Maybe at work you disagree with a policy they have, or maybe you don't really fully agree with the schedule, but you just don't really, it doesn't give you enough time for you, but you don't really say anything. Can be any example. I'll give you a second to think of that. And I invite you to think, what fear do I have that holds me back? Am I afraid of being rejected, of people getting angry at me? That's just one tiny little place where you hold back. Identifying this and developing new ways of lovingly communicating, all the while showing up for ourselves and self-soothing and building a wider network of support, of safe community, what a difference this would make, right? And these are just one of the many ways that Right HerStory supports our community into full expression and empowerment. So we need the power of community, of like-minded people, and practice, and like in any discipline, right? We require practice, action to accompany the inner work. It's not just like, oh wow, what an insight. It's like, how do I put this into practice? And these women have worked hard, both on an inner and an outer level. Next, in this program, women not only opened up to share their journey with the other women and with me, but with you, with an audience. This is the next level of transformation, let me tell you, to become comfortable with being seen and being visible and being vulnerable, right? Like sharing really deep, juicy treasures from women. One of the common threads that you'll hear this afternoon is about breaking through shame. So what is shame? Let's just take a quick look. Shame researcher and storyteller Brene Brown, you may have heard of her. She defines shame as the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Something we've experienced, done, or failed to do makes us unworthy of connection. She doesn't believe that shame is helpful or productive as opposed to guilt. In fact, shame is much more likely to be the source of destructive, hurtful behavior than the solution or cure. The fear of disconnection can make us dangerous. She explains to us that there's a profound difference between shame and guilt, and that guilt is actually adaptive and helpful, and it can help guide us to better or alter our behaviors accordingly. And on an individual level, we see examples of shame throughout our lives, or perhaps the lives of our loved ones. The taboos of mental health, right? You only go see a therapist if there's something wrong with you. Addiction, whether it's love, drugs, alcohol, suicide, self-harm, body image, weight, identity, any kinds of human process of growth and healing, which is messy and non-linear, which is basically everything, right? Think about birth. So shame comes up around all these things. And some of the long-term problems that come up when we live with shame is that we can experience depression and anxiety and phobias, isolation, suicide even, addiction, cutting off parts of ourselves. So story is critical in breaking free of shame because, first of all, we break silence. And then here in front of an audience, there's nothing like it. Two is that, we live in a culture that sits in front of screens, right? We don't really do this storytelling anymore in front of a fire, looking at each other, seeing our whole body moving. We see like Instagram pictures or television screens. It's really different to have an embodied experience of telling stories in front of each other, where we can feel the energy transmission. And then the last thing is that when these women really share these stories, they're becoming conscious creators once again of their story. Instead of having that story like just live and it feels like we're victims to this story or something. It's like we become conscious creative agents of our lives. So my wish is that you will be inspired by these women who have walked through the alchemical fires of transformation to share with you. I invite you to listen with a beginner's mind, as I always also ask them to do, and to listen, to take off the filters of judgment, labeling, and to try on these perspectives like a coat. Just see if it fits. Even if you've never been through the exact situation these women have been through, as she describes it, is in essence similar to anything you've lived through. How could you relate? How could you empathize? Does it resonate? Does it not? How can this story or perspective feed or nourish you today? And as always, take care of yourselves. If you feel anything, you're triggered by anything you hear or anything like that, please take good care of your own mental health and well-being first and foremost. So in a moment, we're gonna have Natalia up here with her bone by bone, and I'm just so excited. Let's give her a nice round.